on earth has been going on here? So guys, unfortunately we missed the first heat, and that was due to, for some reason, my internet just stopped, and I was getting maybe 1.5 megabytes per second, if I was lucky, which definitely it does not help, considering we're running 2 PlayStations, we've got the stream going as well as we are sharing. So the guys will now do a 20-minute race. They have gone straight into it. They did reduce the first heat because of all the restarts down to a 15-minute race. So now the guys will get themselves back into position so that they can start the second heat.
Absolutely, and while we're a little bit offline, we could see some of the action happening, and the guys are really looking to try to step up. But unfortunate that we ran into those technical difficulties, but thank you very much for being so patient with us. We do appreciate it from all our loyal fans. But we are away with Heat number 2, and it's going to be exciting to see what they're going to do.
So guys, let's just see who's got the dibs for the second time round. Not entirely what we were expecting to see, but we still do have the Alpha tier that will be starting just after 9 o'clock, so make sure you don't go anywhere. The guys are still on their formation lap. They're getting themselves into position. I'm just looking at the current positions, and I could almost thought that Vince was out in front there, but that seems to have not been the case. I just want to see if they have been able to put up a final results for us in terms of what happened. And yes, and as expected, it was Vince, Sarge, Adrian, Colin, Dane, then Brandon. And just remember guys, the top 6 will do a reverse grid, which means that Brandon leads, then it's Dane, Colin, Adrian, Sarge, then Vincent. That is why the guys are in the current positions, so that is now making a lot more sense.
I think it's going to be a very challenging thing. We've seen Vince pull a rabbit out of the hat before, and now he's got his work cut out for him, because every single one of these guys know they want to get that better footing into the championship as they make their way around Donington Park for their heat number 2, and he's got his work cut out. I've got to say, because every single these guys haven't got their nerves on edge, I've got my nerves on edge as we're getting ready to up and go.
And I must say, that was a very, very slow start there for Brandon. I think his plan was to rather keep the guys nice and close as Colin now moves up onto the inside. So a great little move there for Colin as he gets the rear a little bit sideways, but not too much worry, because that is his teammate who's now just slotted in right behind him. Just behind Colin is Dane, then it is Adrian. Sarge in 5th, Vincent, he's got himself still in 6th place with Tyler down in 7th.
Adrian busy hunting as no tomorrow, but you can see Vince as well starting to look all over the back, trying to find which way to get past Sarge. And definitely I think we're in for a interesting one. Ryan really battling his way to try and keep Vince at bay, but Vince is on the charge, going a little bit over the curb, but as we jump on board we can see little movements needed in the Porsche, but constantly correcting in a straight line as well. So these cars are a little bit twitchy, being the mid-engine monsters. Hard onto the brakes. You can see really trying to go late as possible. As you can see, a bit of chaos up at front, and that looks like it is Dane. Dane losing a little bit of pace there. No, it was actually Colin. Colin losing a bit of pace. Dane going out wide, trying to do a little bit of a cutback. Vince capitalizing on the moment, and now looking to try and move up. So Vince now really hard on the throttle here. Adrian trying to make up a bit of a position as well. Sarge getting into some major contact. So Sarge dropping a bit back there. Vince capitalizing on this and moves up 2 positions immediately. So definitely not what Sarge wanted, but Vince has got a big smile on his face at the moment as he charges after Dane. Dane going a bit wide, Sarge going off into the weeds. So unfortunately Sarge losing a bit of time there. Vince sliding it out though, does get a little bit of a collision And, a bit of chaos going on here for Bravo's here. Oh my heavens, Porsches left, right and central at this point, as each of these guys are just trying to give it everything it got. But Brandon DeSantos, big smile on his face at the moment, and Adrian as well, who's managed to get himself into second place and starting to open up a bit of a gap.
Yeah, and that's what happens specifically through Craner curves. Their car is already so unbalanced. Now, if you've got to try and change your direction going on the braking zone towards that old hairpin, it definitely is going to make things a little bit trickier. And that is exactly what we saw happen to Tyler, is that he got on the brakes, trying to get out of the way, but unfortunately clipping him and Sarge dropping himself further down the order.
Now Sarge now having to really work out as the two teammates, Colin and Dane, trying to get themselves going again, try and work with each other, saying, listen chap, we got a race to go and try win, so let's do a little bit of bump drafting here and try and move our way back up, as they've lost a lot of ground. Vince now is looking to try and get back on the charge, trying to break the toe of Sarge. Those two have a long rivalry with one another, and nice to see that's coming up back here again. But Vince, not happy in that third place, wants to try and go for that first place. You can see Sarge going through turn one. That car is all over the show. He's really battling to pull it into check, but the Porsche's really testing every single one of our drivers in our Bravo tier on a bit of a tricky circuit when trying to keep the car in check through these fast bends.
So you can see those wheels very, very, I say very, very, but a lot of steering input there, and that's because Adrian is driving on a controller. So that is why the wheels are just so exaggerated with him turning in. But now we can see that this battle for second, third and fourth is starting to get a little bit more interesting, as we see Tyler now coming into the background there. Adrian a little bit ahead, and in terms of a lap, is Adrian half a second slower than Brandon DeSantos, but he was nearly 2 seconds quicker than Vince. It will be very interesting to see as Adrian blocks up going into turn number 11, and that allows Vincent to sneak up on the inside. But now they're going to go into turn number 12. They're going to be side by side. Just don't lock up there. Adrian, you can see how he goes a little bit wide. Vincent's going to try and sneak up back on the inside, trying to do a little cutback. But now Adrian has the advantage because he will be on the inside. Will Vince try and play his bluff, move to the inside, and hopefully let Adrian outbrake himself into turn one?
You can see Adrian really working hard, and I mean with the controller it's very difficult to get those finesse inputs that are needed, but he's doing a fantastic job in doing so and holding Vince at bay. And you can just see really throwing that car in and losing time, goes out on the dirt, and that's the problem. Watching those review mirrors bit him hard, loses time, and you can see Sarge immediately climbing on the anchors, nearly going into the back of Adrian. And Adrian now having to battle Ryan, and you can see how hard he's really working to keep that car all in check. And that's the difficulty with it. But you know what? It's fantastic to see these controller coming in with a controller, versing the steering wheels, and proving that you don't have to have the best gear in the world to be the fastest driver. It's just practice, 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 and that's what he's doing here.
So we do need to give our race leader Brandon DeSantos just a little bit of some TV time. He is 5.5 seconds clear of Vincent, and it's all going to be 10 minutes left once he goes around the start-finish straight. So we should be able to get another, I'd say about 6 laps under the belt here. So a 140.2. And we'll just check as Vincent crosses the line. What does he do? So 141. So Brandon is currently going quicker. And Sarge now, he too went quicker than Adrian. So Adrian's going to start having a little bit more pressure from Sarge coming up behind him.
But you got to realize Vince was still battling to get past Adrian, so losing out a little bit of time there, but definitely picking up the pace now, wanting to go. Sarge really having to work and get past Adrian, but you can see Vince starting to lose the tail end a bit, really fighting that car as much as possible and trying to keep it in check. He's currently the championship leader, but Brandon Santos running a little bit of a faultless race here and really working as hard as he can. Adrian hooking a slide, Tokyo drift, here we come. And definitely the next Formula Drift driver in the works here with Adrian Bond. But Ryan...
was that Vincent who made a little bit of a mistake there? Because we saw him coming out of Coppice. He's all of a sudden got Adrian right up behind him again.
Definitely a bit of a... Well, not even a bit. It's a big mistake there. Adrian now back on the charge. Has got Vince in his crosshairs. And let's see if he'll be able to make a move. Later on the brakes. Really tries to go as deep as he can into that corner. Losing a little bit of time. But only 0.5 of a second behind. He is starting to get into that draft. Now, as we know, the project cars, if you sit within half a second of the car in front of you, you start getting a makeshift draft and get pulled along. So what he needs to really do is knuckle down here, get into the toe, and get pulled along to try and sling past. But he is having to really work it out here. Gets on the dirt, loses it, gets a bit unsteady, and loses Vince in doing so. I mean, so easy to do through that turn. Now he has to deal with Ryan, who is really giving chase. Ryan in that Martini Porsche classic colors to try and get back on the charge. And I've just got to say, it's absolutely beautiful to see some very, very historic colors with the drivers really doing them due justice in flicking these cars around and really pushing them to their limit.
So what I wanted to mention was that previous lap, if it wasn't for Adrian getting up onto the dirt, is that he went 2 seconds quicker than Vincent that lap. But not only that, is that Adrian is doing the same lap time as Brandon DeSantos, who's currently our leader. So it looks like Adrian has found himself a little bit of pace. He just now needs to get that done consistently.
Absolutely. A little bit of CT Auto Electrical under the hood has got that all done and sorted and definitely washed out all the rubbish and got himself going with our auto wash, and now is on the charge for Vince. So definitely he has got the pace. He can really pull a rabbit out of the hat here. As we go further down, we can see the two teammates still trying to make up a bit of ground and work together. They're also having a little bit of a fight with one another, having a good scrap, which is fantastic to see. But they've really got to stop trying to race each other and start using each other to catch up to the grid, because they are half a minute behind. 30 seconds. I mean, that's a lifetime in racing.
Well, definitely no team orders there, and that's what we want to see. We want to see the guys having it out. We want to see them challenging each other. And these two definitely, even though they're teammates, this is a father and son-in-law rivalry going on here, and it doesn't get any more personal than that.
Let's see. I mean, a family rivalry is one thing, and now we've got Brandon.
Santos says disconnected, and he has taken Ryan with him.
Oh my heavens. So Adrian now in second place, Vince in first, and Tyler in third place. So Tyler moving up there, but Adrian now having to push a bit harder. Colin trying to catch up as possible, and a bit of a challenging time here. Unfortunately, this is online racing. There's anything that can happen, unfortunately. But I'm sure each of these drivers will get themselves back in check for the next race. As we have currently got 6 minutes and 10 seconds to see, and yes, Daniel War Machine, we're also excited to see who does well in the Bravo tier this season, and glad to have you here supporting us. for the Bravo tiers. Unfortunately, a bit of a smaller grid with some technical difficulties, but all building up to our Alpha tier, ready to push on to the top. So, I mean, these guys are really giving it everything they got right until the end. Vince in that first place, and now looking to make up a big gap, 3.3 seconds, and you can see he's got a fire set underneath him now, wants to go and try pull away from the rest of the grid and see if he can get that checkered flag once again.
Look, and you can only feel for Brandon Dos Santos. He was out in front, an absolute flawless race, just over 7 minutes left to go of the race, and he disconnects. It's just not fair.
Not at all, and unfortunately, but all it can do is get you fired up for the next round and to try and knuckle down and find some redundancy in connection issues. So, but this is sim racing. I mean, it is one of those things. You can be down to the last lap and a difficulty can occur. The power can go out, internet can go down. As you know, your steering can literally give up the ghost on you as well. So there's a lot of aspects, much like real motorsport. There's different things that can become a problem in gear and in mechanical and electronical setup. So unfortunately, it is the name of the game that we love to punish ourselves with. But each of these guys are really just trying to get until the end here in SARCO, the Porsche Euro Cup, right here at Donington Park.
So we have just under 4 minutes left, and we can see that the invites are coming through. That is for the Alpha tier. So guys, if you are watching, let us know who you've been supporting. Let us know how you're feeling about the disconnect from Brandon. Extremely frustrating. And don't forget, in the next I'd say 5 minutes or so, we will be qualifying for the Alpha tier. I was just about to say, that's very dangerous for Adrian out on that curb.
Definitely, and I see also we have got Brandon Santos in YouTube saying sorry to the guys. Unfortunately, Brandon, it's one of those things. Don't beat yourself up, buddy. That we look forward to seeing you getting back behind the wheel. You have got the pace, you have got the drive, and I'm sure you'll get those network issues sorted out very soon and go for those checkered flags. You definitely got it there, and you're really giving these guys a good run for their money in Bravo tier. So nice to see him immediately coming back, and that's the support to it. Even knocked out of the race, coming back in to watch his friends, support his friends and fellow drivers right until the line. So that's brilliant stuff. Tyler going in, moving his way around. Currently just trying to keep it all together, lying in third place. Now Tyler is one of those up-and-coming drivers that have really been consistent and trying to stick it out throughout last season and this season. And is a very formidable driver, if I can say so myself.
No, most definitely. So we must also not forget that Tyler is a real-world racing driver. He does a race in the Super Hatches. I think it's the Super Hatches. So, Robert, if you are watching, please correct me. Just make sure that I did get your series correct. Apologies if I did get it wrong.
Oh, Tyler putting some of that race experience here, but it's also nice to see the difference and some of the challenges that a lot of these guys coming from real world racing to the sim racing, the different aspects that come into it. It's not just you do real racing, you're going to climb in and you're going to nail the entire grid. It's a totally different aspect, and a lot of guys say that the challenging bits to it is you can't feel the car, you can't feel the movement in the car. There's little bits and pieces. I mean, from the go-karting side, there's a lot of stuff that you rely on feel from your backside of what's happening. Now getting into a sim rig where it's all coming through the steering itself, and you got to rely on what you can feel in your hands and what you can see on the screen in front of you.
So we've just got Vincent, who's crossed the line for the last time, lap at number 12. And Vincent will take home a convincing win. That is nearly 8 seconds ahead of Adrian. And I'm sure Adrian will be very happy with that second place. Tyler, a podium for him. So I'm pretty sure that we will be able to speak to him. So, Mark, what will happen is I'll just have to jump out to go and get myself in the Alpha tier. But if you could just drop the message on the Discord, you could just run the interviews with the guys, and then I will just pop you back into the actual racing once we get going.
No problem. I'll go and ask Mike to do so. All right. No, it's absolutely brilliant to see these guys really pushing it. Unfortunately, we did have a couple of disconnects that really... it's unfortunately one of those things, but we'll see how it all takes going into race number 3. And I've got to say, I'm very interested to see how it all turns out.
So Vince will now head to the last corner for the last time. And he will now make it 4 wins in a row. We definitely need the likes of D to come in. And it would have been pretty interesting should Brandon Dos Santos have stayed in. As well as Ryan, because Ryan was hanging in there and doing extremely well.
Definitely. Yeah, that's the bit to it is, unfortunately, Connection did play a bit of a role in this race, but definitely later in the season I see some fantastic racing coming up between some drivers that are willing to push the boundaries and maybe give you guys a good run for your money as well.
I'm more than happy for them to come.
There we go. I've posted on Discord, so we should have those drivers joining our top 3 joining us. So a big bravo to them. Well done to our drivers. Well done to Vince taking first place. And guys, thank you very much for joining us. Make sure you hit that subscribe and that bell notification bell on YouTube, and make sure you share the link with all your friends, family, and even their dogs. And also look us up on Facebook, SARCO, South African Racing Community Online. Like our page for upcoming news and also a bit of a sneak peeks of what's to come. So definitely want to share the links all around. Make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, and like our page, as there's lots to join. And as we get the drivers joining us into the commentary box to come and have a little bit of a chat. So let's start off with Adrian Bond. Adrian, welcome right here in the bird's nest. And how was that race? A bit of a challenging one, race number 1 and race number 2. How did you feel with the car? And looked like some difficulty trying to fight off a couple of the guys, but still managing to put in some incredible lap times, incredible defenses, especially with coming from a controller.
Thanks. No, it actually was very difficult. You missed the steering wheel, you used the controller. Those mistakes was my mistakes, concentrating too hard. But that was a good race. It was difficult though, but I enjoyed it. Thanks.
And I mean, going into the race, how much planning did it take to go, all right, what I need to do, I need to really step up and carry on the pace from last week? Was there any major practice going in? Was there any ideas of how to get up there and really push the car to limit?
Practice. A lot of practice.
Lots and lots of practice.
Yes, just to familiarize myself with the tracks again, because I haven't played in long, so you don't remember the track. So yeah, I need a lot of practice So yes, got to do some personal testing and just see how the Porsche handles slowed in the corners, see how far I can roll it, how many times. But yeah, all good. Thanks anyway. It was a good race.
Absolutely
Tough
brilliant.
catching everyone. Tough catching everyone. Sweating bricks.
Oh, glad to have you here, Mr. Bond. And now joining us in the commentary box and is currently leading the championship, taking the win, and that is Vince. Vince, how does it feel getting the checkered flag?
Sorry, I missed that.
A little bit hollow with Brandon's disconnect.
Okay. Right, cool.
It's a pity. I wish there wasn't so many issues tonight with the lobby and there was a few more guys in the race. Would have made for a bit closer racing, but otherwise, yeah, it was good.
Oh, there we go. I can hear you again. Sorry about that.
So, Vince, you had a bit of a challenging time getting around the guys in heat number 2 and some very close calls on your part. What happened on the start there? You had some proper wheel-to-wheel action with Adrian, with Colin, with everyone, actually. You really had to work your backside off there. Walk us through it.
No, that was a lot of work. I don't know what happened on the third corner. I got a car sideways and I just couldn't catch it. I don't know who I collected there, and we went off into the grass. Luckily enough, we kept it straight. And yeah, sure, just chasing down Brandon. I could see he was running away from me. Then he had his spin, and I thought it was going to be a good battle to the line, and then the disconnect. So it's a pity.
And now I have to ask the question that quite a few people are wondering. What on earth happened? You slowed down by 2 seconds at one point in clear air. What on earth happened there, bud?
I cannot say. Oh, that Porsche can catch you off guard quickly. Get you a little bit on edge, I think.
Now, heading into race number 3, starting with Adrian. Adrian, what's your plan heading into race number 3? I mean, you're currently 4th in the championship. Now you've managed to put some more points underneath your belt to try and push ahead of both Tyler and Michael. What's your planning getting into the next race?
Sarge, you'll just
And
have
be
to
consistent.
join
Make sure I finish.
Mike in
Make the
the
mistakes
Discord,
and
please, just so that you guys
I'll
can talk to
see
each
what
other.
happens. I can't do that, but I'll be practicing and push harder. That's for sure.
Okay, guys, we are ready to go.
All right, perfect stuff. Thank you very much, Adrian. And a big round of applause for Adrian Bond. Thank you very much for joining us here in the commentary box. Now, Vince, you are currently leading the championship. You're extending your lead by quite a
I
bit.
think Tyler forgot
What's
to leave.
your plans going into
Good work,
the
guys.
next race?
Maybe
That's
actually
fine.
put a bit of
You'll
practice
just be
in,
in the
just so I
pits.
can be a bit more consistent. This race, I really didn't get any practice for it. I'm quite happy it turned out. Luckily enough, I've got enough practice for Donington because I know I battle with that track usually.
I don't know the tracks.
Yeah, maybe just get some practice.
Don't start.
Definitely a bit of coconuts moment there, but well done to both of you guys. Well done to all our
Thank you very
bravos
much.
here for all fantastic racing. We're going to be jumping in with our Alpha tier soon, and really looking forward to seeing that. Dylan's going to be racing and putting on the gloves to see what he can do. And definitely our Alpha tier is one to watch out for with a bit of excitement going into it as we go through our driver standings at the moment. Ashley currently leading in first place, Dylan in second, Robert in third, Lyndall in fourth place, Jakes in fifth, and Sly Pete in sixth place. So definitely some close racing to be had. And Dylan currently lying on 46 points, 14 points behind Ashley. And Robert only 13 points behind him. So definitely a bit of a challenge going on there for early parts of the season. And we're looking forward to seeing how the guys do and make their way into the race as well. So definitely some fun times to be had right here at Donington Park. Once again, guys, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that bell notification. Also, go and go onto our Facebook page and like that as well. And just joining us in the commentary box, really cutting it by the skin of his teeth, is a man that really knows how to cut it by the skin of his teeth, and that is Sarge. And that's Ryan the Sarge. Ryan, glad to have you here and take us through that race. You had a bit of a challenging time there and really had to push yourself that little bit extra the whole way up through the grid.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me. Yeah, it was certainly an interesting race, but yeah, it was a good one nonetheless.
Now, Sarge, I mean, you had some good side-by-side moments and also some moments sliding around. How was the Porsche on Donington? Did you find it a little bit more tricky compared to the first race, or did you find that it could stick a bit more together?
I actually found the second race a little bit more difficult. It felt like there was actually a bit of less grip in the second heat compared to the first one. Struggling with front end grip with a Porsche is it's something else.
Absolutely. Well done to all three of you. Fantastic driving, and look forward to seeing what you guys can do in race number 3. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give them a round of applause. Our top 3 of the Bravo tier, Roger of SARCO during the Porsche Euro Cup. And big thank you to you guys. Awesome work.
One more shout out. Thanks to Simstuff Racing. Oh, Johan. Thanks, guys.
As we jump on board to our Alpha tier currently. So Dylan is going around and racing as hard as he can, trying to get a little bit more practice in to climb up through the ranks. So some hard work as he's got to try and push himself that little bit more. But so has the rest of the grid. We take a look at Robert, who's just trying to keep it all together at this point and carry his way through. He's currently 3rd in the championship. So all he has to do is just try keep it all together, keep it on the black stuff, and really push himself that little bit extra, a little bit more. And I see Daniel saying, let's go, JohannVdV. There we go. We've got Dylan, who's now trying to battle his way around, trying to flick the Porsche around and really gain a bit of pace. So Dylan, part of the Green Mambas, trying to give a bit of Mamba fever. But right behind him is the Horn Dog, as he tries to really give himself a bit of a move there as well. And I'm joined in the commentary box by Doopy. Welcome to the stream. Glad to have you here.
Oh, great stuff. Thank you.
Now, I gotta say, we're in for some fantastic racing. And what do you expect going into the Alpha tier and all the different races that are currently in it? I mean, we've got Adrian Horn, we've got Dylan, we have got so many incredible drivers all looking to step up and really show what they can do for round number 2. But the pressure mainly sitting on Ashley, who's currently leading the championship at this point and has to really try and find some pace right here at Donington.
Yeah, I know. I was watching the race, the previous race, and Ashley, his racing was faultless. I was rather impressed. But then again, I would not take away some of the other guys, like Dylan. I didn't watch the whole race, but I watched part of it. Dylan, who did quite well, he stepped up and made up a few places. We've got a lot of fast guys in the Alpha tier, even in the Bravo tier. But then again, P-Cars 2, not for me. I just couldn't I couldn't come right with it. These guys are really good. They're fast.
The guys really having to push it to the limit. Now, we saw our quickest lap times were a 40.2 in the Bravo tier. Jake's going that one step further and doing a 139.7. So massive time there. Right behind him is Gavin, followed by Dylan, who's in 3rd place. So, and they're doing 140.1 and 140.2 respectively. Going further down the grid, we got Ashley lying in 4th place with a 140.3. We have got Peter, Old Sly Pete, in 5th place with a 40.7. So our 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, all literally within half a second of each other, trying to really push the boundaries here and try and get themselves up. So very, very close racing, and anyone's game for the top spot. As we saw in our Bravo tier, that anything can go on. It's really until the fat lady sings and the checker flag comes down to say. But if you have to go and throw your money out there, packet of chips, Layers chips, who would you put your packet of Layers chips on to get the checker flag in heat number 1? Gav really trying to give it everything he's got. Pete really trying to get. So if I have to put my packet of chips down, it's going to be a tough one. Brandon is starting to climb up, doing a 138.9. So he's really stepped it one up on old Jakes there by 0.007 of a 0.76 of a second above. So really having to just eke it in there right for the qualifying. So bravo to him. Now we jump to our race, our Porsche Euro Cup, sponsored by Simstuff Racing, Fourways Autowash, and CT Auto Electrical. Big thank you to our sponsors for coming on board and joining us for this fantastic season. And I see a massive support for JohannVdV, who for the sim racing stuff. So glad to see it. Brandon Santos checking in there. Let's go Rough Riders as well. So Brandon's in a bit of support for the guys as we line up for heat number 1 right here at Donington for our alpha tier, our creme de la creme of the category. Let's see what they can do. 13 cars on the grid, all revved up, ready to go. Got to get it in gear, get your revs right, and get ready to rock, roll, and rumble. Is it going to be Green Mamba Fever, or is it going to be put down? We'll find out right in a couple of moments. And the race is on. Pete really pushing as hard as he can. Dylan diving up the inside, trying to catch up to his teammates. And Dylan right in between the two, hard on the brakes, and you can see Pete now having to try and hold Ashley at bay. Bumps into the back of Dylan. Dylan really having to work hard here. Ashley trying to find any way around at this point, managing to just get so Dylan getting a bit sideways action, bit of rubbing going on, and you can see Dylan really having to work here to try and keep it all together. JohannVdV really pushing as hard as he can. Peter now trying to power his way through. Gavin just doing everything he can. And it looks like Dylan dropping way down the grid, getting swallowed up. But Brandon starting to move away up at the front. Jake's trying to really push himself here to get any bit of pace as possible as they battle their way around. Pete really working hard to try and keep it all together. But Jake's getting a hold of Brandon and getting ahead. So Mamba Fever is in front. Dylan really having to work hard here to try and catch up to his teammate. Brandon trying to keep into the tow. Ashley in 3rd place is just looking for any way to get back. Slide Pete really pushing the car, gets a bit sideways. Dylan has to take a bit of evasive action and goes around the outside. Dylan goes and makes the pass. And now we have to take a look. Hills now looking to drive up and do everything he can. And you can see how hard they are working. Hills losing out of position as well, as we have got Gav, who's really just putting on the power here and starting to make his way through. Gav really putting on a huge amount of pressure and looking to try and get past. Leans on and managing just to eke past. So that's, Hills managing to get up there and really push himself as well. So currently in 1st place is Jakes, followed by Brandon, Ashley, Gavin, Hills, and Dylan in our top 6. But the battle is all the way around. JohannVdV lying in 10th place, just trying to catch up to the action here. Terry trying to move up through the front. So Terry now pushing as hard as he can. He wants to get away from Pete as much as possible. So definitely these guys are doing everything they can. Nice to see Terry Wolford really pushing what he can do in sim racing, and thoroughly enjoying it, as he calls this his second home to his racing. Pete going and out, breaking himself, really having to tuck that nose in of the Porsche, trying to battle his way around. You could see how hard he's working to keep it all together. But Terry having everything he can. Brandon now looking to put on the pressure and really make his way and climb through as much as possible. So definitely a bit of hard work going on here from every single one of our drivers as they try to climb up. Dylan also trying to move up, currently in 6th place. A little bit of rubbing, and now looks to go on the attack of Hills. Hills not giving up a position, really going in on the defensive and trying to maintain that 5th spot ahead of the Green Mamba. You can see how much they're just trying to dip those noses in on the Porsche to really swing the car around and having to work hard. And Gav now starting to open up a massive gap between them. Dylan keeping into the toe. He wants to get pulled along and maybe try to do a little bit of a cutback. Further down in the field, we can see Sly Pete trying to run away from Terry Wolford. And Sly Pete having a little bit of a challenging time at the moment. Greg in front of him. And now has to try to get past. So Terry Wolford is really hanging on to the back of him, but you can see how hard Pete is pushing as they battle their way around the circuit right here at Donington Park. Not an easy race by any of these any standards, and each of these guys are just trying to take that one step forward. Pete trying to really tuck a nose in, does a little bit of a bump though. Terry Wolford off in the dirt though, losing up massive time, and Terry falling right back into 11th place. Will he lose another? Let's see if he'll be able to hang it, just managing to grip it and carry on. Adrian Horn in that 10th place now, been gifted now. He wants to try and make up a bit of move, but Terry Wolford definitely kicking himself right now, and definitely was one of those things. Unfortunately, we've heard that these cars can snap back as much as possible and have to try and battle their way around. Jake's currently lying in 1st place, followed by Brandon, who is really hanging on the back of him. Brandon keeping a little bit of a tighter line, trying to keep it all together. Is a little bit slower pace compared to Jake's, but is really trying to pull himself along. Jake's laid on the brakes. You could see how much that car is dipping in, locking up as massive as possible. And you can see Brandon trying to keep it to the toe there. Brandon pulling himself along though. He might be close enough to make a move if he can hang it all together for the next couple of corners. Jake's losing out a little bit of time by sliding it out there. So Jake's really working hard to try and keep the car in check. Definitely not an easy run there. Brandon really pulling himself in the toe. And you can just see how hard they are working these Porsches to the limit. These mid-engine monsters of the 90s era, going and really showing what they can do. No ABS, no traction control, brute force power, and it's been delivered quite well right here on Project Cars, part of our Porsche Euro Cup here at SARCO, and the guys are really doing everything they can. They've also got a award going on as well, so Simstuff Racing giving out some button boxes and some G29 magnetic shifters that, trust me, make a difference to your rig. So you definitely want to go for this. And I can see the massive support going on YouTube, where the guys are really doing everything they can. They're supporting their drivers, saying, listen guys, keep on going. You guys have it here. Want to keep it all together. So fantastic to see the support. Big thank you to you guys. And I want to ask the chat, who do you think is going to be able to really keep us going? Who's going to push themselves that little bit more to take the win here, right here at Donington for heat number 1? Sly Pete really trying to break away as he really forces himself to go that extra mile, goes over the pit lane, so really taking an extremely wide line to chuck the car around. A very unorthodox line, but is trying to hang it all together So definitely some hard work here. So guys in the comments, let's see, who do you think? Will Jakes be able to keep it at bay? He is a second ahead of Ashley, but we know Ashley is one to have a good fight here. Ashley really trying to keep Brandon at bay now, managed to get past, and now has to push himself that little bit more. So it's anyone's game at this point. Brandon still giving some massive chase. He wants to keep on climbing and move his way up through the grid, as every single one of these guys are just looking for any way to get by. So definitely some close racing, but Jake's starting to pull away now, 1.3 seconds, and has got the Porsche knuckle down. He is running away from his teammate, who's lying in 5th place. Dylan having a little bit of a lonely, trying to catch up to Gav, and honestly, I mean, Gav has got this pretty much knuckled down, had a bit of a rough time, and is now back on the charge to try and catch up, but 6 seconds behind 3rd place. He's got some hard work to catch up as they battle their way around the circuit with only 11 minutes remaining of the race out of this 20-minute heat number 1. Each of these guys trying to just push themselves a little bit more, trying to utilize as much of the circuit as possible to carry as much pace. Ashley starting to catch up now and pulling a bit of a gap over Brandon, so fantastic racing there between them. And you can just see how much they're trying to utilize these cars to push themselves that little bit more every single time as they make their way around the circuit. Definitely not an easy thing to do with such evenly matched vehicles and some very, very talented drivers. The Porsche known with only 308 horsepower, which they've got to utilize 900 kilograms, so its power to weight ratio really does help. We could be able to get up to 250 kilometers an hour in 0 to 105.5 seconds. So the guys are really trying to put flats right up there, utilize all the gears, all 5 gears to really get up there. So definitely some fantastic racing going on, and during this time we could say a massive thank you to our sponsors, and I know each of these guys are going to be really going out to Autowash, Fourways, Gardens Shopping Centre, and they're definitely going to use the SARCO special, which gives them a reduced rate of 15% off all their normal rates by just quoting SARCO. So, I mean, that's fantastic. And also with sim racing stuff, going and chucking in some prizes, and some prizes that you can actually get for your rig, if you like me, using a G29, those magnetic shifters, definitely going to come in handy as we carry on board with Ashley, who's starting to pick up a bit of pace, 1.7 seconds behind Jake, so definitely really trying to drag himself along here and push themselves that little bit more every step of the way. Gav falling a little bit behind, 2 seconds off Brandon, so really trying to catch up, and the grid starting to open up a little bit more as we go through. Hill starting to give himself as much pace as possible. Right behind him is Pete, so Pete is right onto the back of him, half a second, and you can see Hill's now having to really battle his way, really chuck the car in, gets a little bit of a slide though, losing a slight bit of time. Pete tries to capitalize, gets a bit of drive out, and really pulling himself along. And this is a battle for 6th place right now, and you can see how hard Pete is really trying to push the car and get past Hills. Hills currently 10th in the championship, Pete lying in 6th, so Pete needs every single one of the points he can do to still have his championship hopes alive here at SARCO. Hills going very, very defensive, tries to go and cause as much of a stop as possible, gets in the middle of the circuit, and you can see Pete losing out. So Pete going and losing out some massive, massive drive there as he nearly collides into the back of Hills. Hills slowed up dramatically, moved to the middle of the circuit to go on the defensive, and unfortunately that left Pete nowhere to go but onto the black stuff, onto the green stuff. Right behind him is Greg, who is going a little bit wide. He has got people behind him, so definitely the hard work comes now to try and keep him at bay. Pete really having to push hard. Hill's going late on the brakes, trying to utilize as much of the circuit as possible. Right behind them, though, is the Horn Dog, and that is Adrian Horn, Andrew Horn, who's really just trying to keep it all together at this point. 2.5 seconds behind Pete, so he's just trying to coast the car along in the Alpha tier and really try and find out any bit of pace that he can. Pete really pushing as hard as he can, half a second between himself and Greg, so he is really doing everything he can. He wants to carry on climbing, and definitely some frustration being shown there as he's trying to keep it all together. Bit of sparks flying from these Porsches as they really battle themselves. As we go on board, you can see Pete really getting close there, trying to utilize as much as the circuit, but still keep the toe of Greg. Losing out a little bit of pace, he's really just trying to push it to the limit. He's putting his foot through the floorboard at this rate to try and hang it all together. Slows up a little bit, and you can just see Greg having more and more drive out of the corners. So Pete's really got to get very late on the brakes here, get very, very creative to battle his way around. Greg trying to move his way up as well as he starts catching up onto the back of Hills. So Hills is not running away at this point, and now is turning into a bit of a battle for 6th, 7th, and 8th. And you can see Pete now starting to get the drive as he wants to try and get past. He's sick and tired of seeing these white Porsches in front of him and wants to move up. As we go back up through the grid, we can see Ash moving his way around and is just having a fun time battling it out with Jakes. Managing to get that first place spot, now has to try and pull away from Jakes. Jakes is currently 5th in the championship and now has everything to gain, while Ash has to keep that first place right at the front. So definitely the challenge comes in between them. Jakes into the toe, dives up, looking for a gap to go by, decides rather not going to push my luck, get back into it, and really follow his way through. Very, very clever thinking there. Very difficult to make a pass through our little snake section. And you can see how hard they're really pushing it. Jakes lifting off the brakes a little bit, does a little bit of a tap though against Ash, and you can see just lifts that nose up but tries to release the brake a little bit early, and unfortunately going into the back of Ash, but both cars managing to keep it straight. Ash gets a little bit out of shape, and you can see Jake's really trying to keep it all together as well. So definitely hard work going on here. Very, very close racing. Jake's looking to try and make it anyway pass. Looks into it, late on the brakes, but once again into the back of Ash. Ash is trying to slow down Jakes. Jakes loses out a bit of time though, off into the dirt. Ash trying to slow him down by brake checking. So unfortunately, Jake's not going to be a happy camper with that. But well done for Ash for trying to utilize the braking markers as much as possible to slow the competitors down and get the jump. Very good reminiscent to rolling starts, as you want to back the grid up and then get the jump out in and out of the corners, and also very risky maneuver in doing so as well. Hills trying to keep Pete at bay, which is turning into a very difficult time as they try and push themselves a bit more. Greg trying to keep Pete at bay. Hills starting to try and get it away from him, but unfortunately into the toe. Pete really trying to drag himself along here. He's got the Porsche in front of him. Greg goes late on the brakes, does lock up a little bit. Pete having to try and slow up a little bit, getting slowed up. Not a happy camper there, but you can see how much these drivers in the Alpha tier are really pushing each other to the limit right up through the grid. And I mean, with incredible times on the board as well. So the guys are really doing everything they can to try and stack it up. But Pete managing to really push himself, managing to get by. Pete goes and dives up and gets past Greg and Hills at the same time. Andrew Horn going past as well. So Andrew Horn capitalizing on this. Pete now trying to get past and is really battling with Horn, with Hills. Hills really having to try and keep it all together. And you can see Andrew Horn immediately right onto the back. Now just trying to watch his teammates, see what's happening, and capitalize on the moment. Hills goes out wide. Pete goes past. Pete gets a little bit of a bump there. Andrew Horn managing to get by, but unfortunately Hills lost a little bit of time, got it sideways, and unfortunately, Andrew Horn going and giving him a little bit of nudge there. Pete going and losing out of position, so Andrew Horn moving up into 6th place ahead of his teammate. The guys are really trying to do everything they can. Greg trying to get back into the toe. Only 0.2 of a second right behind. You can see how hard he's pushing to make up as much time as possible. Pete off into the dirt. Greg goes by. Hills looking to try and capitalize as well. Hills starting to come by, get side by side, and manages to get through. Pete losing out not 1 but 3 positions, and really now having to work. Unfortunately, that touch on the dirt has cost him 2 positions, and now has to try and climb his way and claw right back up. Hills not going to make this easy for him, as Vaughan Hills trying to try and make his way up through the grid. So fantastic racing from the Alpha tier, and Andrew Horn on the charge here, making some good time. Had a little bit of a rough time at the start, and now you can see Odd on the brakes trying to squeeze Ashley, both of them not giving an inch, and you could just see Terry moving over from the race, just saying, listen guys, you go and get past. I don't want to interfere too much with the race here. And some very nice driving there. Well done to Terry Wolford. Just doesn't want to interfere too much. He's got his race there. He needs to try to keep himself going. Part of the Rough Riders. So definitely some good work going on here from each of these drivers as they battle their way around Donington Park. Jake's late on the brakes. Goes out a little bit wide. And you can see Ash really pushing as hard as he can to keep it all together. So this is really turning into a bit of a race. With only 50 seconds left on the board, they might be able to get 1 lap left. So this is a do or die for every single one of these drivers. Brandon right behind in 3rd place. He's got Gab starting to catch up as well. But the battle for first is anyone's guess at this point. Jake's trying to keep it all together. Gets a little bit sideways and is trying to pull himself along here. And Ash is not giving an inch. Ash doing a 140.1 and Jake's doing a 138.8. So on that last lap, Jake's was faster. But let's see, will he be able to capitalize on the pace now? Cream Mamba Fever, will it happen, or will Ash put down the Mumbas here at Donington? Ash really giving everything he can. You can see Jake's flashing his lights, just really giving it everything they got. Last lap, ladies and gentlemen. This is a do or die between them for first place. Place your bets, and I want to see in the chat, who do you think is going to crack this? Will Jakes be able to get past Ash as Ash goes on the defensive, holding Jakes at bay? Ash going out wide. Jakes managing to capitalize on this. Gets ahead. Ash looking to try and do a little bit of a fight back. But Ash is slowing down a little bit. Maybe something's gone wrong. Lost a bit of pace there. Jake's not trying to battle his way. Needs to keep on going. Gets a little bit of slide. Held together. And really just looking to try and move up. He wants a checkered flag for himself and for the team. Right here, Donington, heat number 1. Ash really looking to try and fight back. Gets back into the toe. Only 0.4 of a second between them, ladies and gentlemen. As they're really pushing each other to the limit. Gav trying to catch up to Brandon as well in the background there. But you can see every bit of these drivers is just doing what they can to keep it on the circuit. Ash trying to keep in the toe there. Looks on the outside. Dives to the dirt though. Not sure if that's going to help. Jakes goes and tries to block out. Ash goes a little bit on the dirt and nudges. Jakes goes out wide. It's drag racing down the straight. Who is going to get it? Will Ash be able to hold out? Jake's managing to get by. Jake's going to the middle of the circuit holding Ash. And you can see Ash trying to get by. Ash dives up on the side by side action once again as they come across the line. Who will it be? Ashley taking the race win ahead of Jake's. Side by side action. Drag racing right to the line. 3rd place goes to Brandon. 4th place to Gavin. Absolutely incredible racing for heat number 1. And I'm sure these guys are really going to push themselves come heat number 2. Dylan taking that 5th place spot. Andrew Horn in 6th place, who moved up through the grid, utilizing every moment the drivers made mistake. Greg's in 7th place, Pete's in 8th place, getting past Hills, and absolutely incredible racing, guys. Right here at Donington, as they're on their cool down lap. And my heavens, don't know about you, but I am super excited. My voice is going to be shot by the end of the night, that's for sure, with these incredible drivers. But while we got a bit of downtime, I'd like to thank our sponsors once again for sponsoring our Alpha tier right there. You can see on the screen Ashley taking 1st place, Jake's in 2nd place, Brandon in 3rd place. And look at the gap between 1st and 2nd, 0.285 of a second. That is just mind-boggling. Brandon getting a 2nd penalty though. Dylan as well getting a penalty, a 1-second penalty, and Andrew getting a 1-second penalty. It doesn't change their position, but it's something you have to be aware of. Those track limits come into play, and you don't want to get those penalties in through the race. So it can make or break your races. 3 penalties dished out. Dylan Hall getting the penalty, Andrew Horn getting the penalty, and Brandon with a penalty. That hopefully they can keep it all together come race number 2 right here at Donington, part of the Porsche Euro Cup, brought to you by SARCO and CT Auto Electrical, Simstuff, and also a big thank you to Autowash, Fourways Gardens Shopping Centre, and make sure you hit that subscribe button on our YouTube, hit that notification bell, and like our Facebook page as well, ladies and gentlemen. Now this is it. Heat number 2. It's anyone's game. Who is it going to be? And I've got to say, I am incredibly excited to see who's going to get that top spot tonight at Monday night Porsche Euro Cup. Don't forget, we've also got Thursday with our Assetto Corsa Competizione. They're going to be racing on Thursday, and some great racing there as well for GT3 action. So newer cars, but same hardcore action the whole way through with our Alpha and Bravo tiers, as our drivers all getting ready to line up for them to 20 minutes. And you can see that these guys are really going to try and give it everything they got. Once again, remember, our top 6 get a reverse grid as well. So the guys are going to have to really pull a rabbit out of the hat here to pull themselves together with this reverse grid, and we'll have to find out how it's all going to go. But the battle comes in with Ash starting in 6th place. We got Jake's into 2nd place. Brandon is ahead of all of them, and that's where the challenge comes in. Gab as well, looking to try and make his way. JohannVdV going and looking to try and claw his way up as well. And definitely some hardcore racing going on here. And I wish I could show you the camera on Discord. As you can see Dylan with absolute focus at this point, chatting to his teammates, saying, listen buddy, you've got to keep it all together, you've got to keep it clean, we have to try and battle our way through. Ash is no easy feat, Jake's knows this, and they really have to push themselves that extra little bit. So some very, very tight action between them, and it's anyone's guess who's going to get right here for heat number 2 as we're waiting to get in. So ladies and gentlemen, make sure you keep yourself hydrated as well for the next 20 minutes. And just to let you know, it's 9:45 here in South Africa. So the guys are having to really keep themselves going. Now, I mean, they've been working the whole day, working, studying, and just trying to keep a normal life going into the sim racing. Now, it is getting late and the fatigue starts kicking in. And you might not think that behind the sim that you're going to get fatigued, but there's eye strain that starts kicking in because you're focusing on a flickering screen. And even though it doesn't look like it's flickering, a small little LED is constantly changing colors, so that eye fatigue starts kicking in. Mental fatigue as well because of the pure concentration. Also, your steerings do have feedback through them. And also on the controllers, you have a bit of a haptic feedback on your controller. So you're busy trying to keep it all together and feel this little vibration. So you do get tired and your muscles do get strained. I know the guys that are running the more powerful force feedback motors, such as the T300 and the T500, brought to you by Thrustmaster, they've turned their force feedback up to get as much feel through the car, as well as they start getting a bit of strain in the arms. So a bit of a rolling start here, ladies and gentlemen, as they now have to try and get themselves into position for heat number 2. And all eyes are on Ash and Jakes at this point. And I just take a look. Brandon DeSantos in the chat. I thought you were going to catch me. Saw the other car sitting on the track, but unfortunately it was too late. Yes, Brandon, we saw that, but unfortunate. But we'll get you back in. We'll get you having some fun. And I want to ask you guys in the chat on Facebook and on YouTube, how are you loving the of our alpha tier tonight, as they all seem to be on absolute form right here at Donington? And I can say incredible. Go and guys, give them a massive applause in that chat. I want to see thumbs up, I want to see high fives, I want to see those strong arms for our alpha tier heat number 2 right here at Donington for the Porsche Euro Cup. And this is the final heat for the night. So let's see who's it going to be. I want to see everyone in those chats. Facebook, YouTube, who is it going to be? Will Ash be able to take the race win? Will Jakes be able to snatch it away at the last minute? Or will we have a surprise winner for heat number 2? Go and put it in those comments there. I'm taking a look. I see you, Brandon DeSantos. I see you, Vince. I see you, Adrian Bond as well. And our War Machine as well. Who is it going to be? Who is going to get it? Adrian Bond, enough with those beers up on there. Go and show your coconuts. I want to see who is going to get it. You guys show the support for the drivers. Alpha tier, ladies and gentlemen. As we move on for heat number 2, right here at Donington, you can see all of them weaving all about. Let's see, will Green Mamba Fever strike? Will Ash be able to put down the numbers? We will find out right here. And I see Vince putting in a message saying money's on Jakes. So we got money on Jakes. Vince has got money on Jakes. Vince went to 1 Bravo tier. Will Vince be able to pass on that excitement? Will he be able to pass on that luck? Hitting you right here as they're starting to line themselves up, weaving up and down right here for the final time, heating up those tires. You can Dylan really game for this. Race number 2. Andrew Horn leading, Gav in 3rd place, and right behind them is Brandon, Jakes, and Ash. As the race is on, flooring it down to the line, you can see the Porsche spreading out now as they all trying to fight for position. Dylan now looking to try and get past Andrew Horn. Andrew Horn going on the defensive immediately to try and hold him at bay. Jakes is off the circuit. Jakes falls off the circuit, losing a lot of time, and now has to try and fight his way back. Major upset. Dylan getting a bit sideways, trying to catch it, really working hard. Gav trying to dive up and capitalize on the moment. Now Gavin looking to get past. Gav barely battling his way through here. Brandon now trying to get past. Dylan going on the defensive, holding him at bay. And you can see Dylan now on the charge, trying to hold him at bay. Brandon eking up on the inside, looking and sniffing up those fenders right now, trying to look for where's the king in the armor. Earlier stages of this race as they battle their way around right here for the final time tonight of our Porsche Euro Cup. Dylan doing everything he can, but it looks like Gavin is in the tow. And, sorry, that's Brandon in the tow, now looking to get past. Brandon tries to get around. Dylan gets it sideways, going over the bollards, and now has Brandon getting past. So Brandon is now passed into 3rd place, Ash into 5th place. But where is Jakes? Jakes is lying in 13th spot, so really pushing. Dylan now trying to go on the inside of Brandon. So Brandon now having to try and battle his way around. Jakes, unfortunately, at the back now has to try and get past Pete, which is no easy feat. So Jakes has got the hard work here. Vince, I think you might have put on a bit of a rough curse here for Jake's going round. Oh, and gets a... Terry gets out of touch with the car, and unfortunately, Jake's getting collateral damage straight into the pit. So unfortunately, Jake's getting the knock and looks to be out of the race as well. So that's really, really unfortunate for Jake's. Now, Andrew Horn leading out the grid, trying to keep it all together and battle his way around. Brandon getting a bit sideways, lying in third place, and he's just doing everything he can. I mean, these Porsches are very, very difficult. Unfortunately, loss of control is one of the things that can happen. Unfortunately, Jake's was on the receiving end of that, but I'm sure he'll be back in for round number 3. Dylan now trying to hold Ashley at bay. Ashley keeping on the attack here, keeping the pressure on, making sure Dylan's looking at those review mirrors. And I can take a look onto my Discord and I can see Dylan every so often looking at his review mirrors going, where is Ash going to be? Where is that overtake going to happen? Trying to think where Ash is going to be able to do. Ash dives up on the inside, gets a bit, loses it over the curbing and keeps it all together. But Dylan managing to get by. So fantastic racing there. I see Terry Wilford trying to climb up through the waves. Hills in 11th place as well. But the battle goes on. Terry Wilford battling out with Olama over there. And definitely some brilliant work from our Alpha Tier. The guys trying to put in that little bit extra as they battle their way around the circuit. Brilliant, brilliant racing from our Alpha Tier. Lindell having a fun run with Terry Wilford. Sly Pete now getting by. So Sly Pete. Peter trying to run away now with Terry Wilford giving chase. Terry's taking a little bit of damage on the car. And you can see just trying to nurse it a little bit through the corners and really push. So trying to push and nurse, not the easiest thing to do. And especially with Hills chasing him down. But you can see how hard he's on the brakes there. But Pete still managing to battle his way through and keep it all together. Brandon only a second behind. But if we go and take a look, Gavin in second place though. 0.2 of a second behind Andrew Horn. So Andrew Horn has got a problem here. Gavin is giving chase. Gavin now looking to try and snatch away that first place. With only 13 minutes remaining, Andrew Horn has to go on the defensive here, try and hold him at bay. Unfortunately, Gavin's in the tow, dives up on the inside. Who's going to be later on the brakes? Andrew Horn managing a little bit later on the brakes through our little snake. Gav going out a bit wide, gets on the dirt, and that's just allowed Brandon to get by. Brandon gets by. And as you can see in the background there, also Dylan getting on the dirt as well. So Ash trying to capitalize on that. Gavin now trying to get back into the tow. Brandon in second place. Gavin right behind, sniffing the back of that Porsche. And is now looking for any way to get by. Goes late on the brakes, tries to look up on the inside. Unfortunately, too far to make a move. Looks to try and come back. Gets a bit of a drive up, but you can see Brandon very, very well done driving. Immediately goes and covers that line to go and try and go a little bit on the brakes. Knows that this is a very complex corner, double apex, and you can see Gav getting a little bit out of shape as they battle away around the circuit. So definitely some hard work going on here between all the guys. And definitely Adrian Bond, that is what it is. Fantastic driving from our Alpha Tier. Definitely cakes and also our friendly drinks is needed. So Adrian Bond going and showing the support for our Alpha Tier. Big thank you to our Bravo Tier joining us right here. And I can see you guys. Don't worry, I'm not missing you all in this. And we've also got Clayton Lee, Mrs. Hall, going and watching us. So thank you, Mrs. Hall. We see you on Facebook. And you're really giving the support to Dylan. So definitely some tight racing. Definitely coconuts racing. Remember, we use coconuts in this. And the guys are really trying to push themselves that little bit more every single time. So fantastic, fantastic racing. Reeve Cornish as well going and watching on Facebook. So we see you guys on Facebook. We see you guys on YouTube going and supporting your drivers as they battle their way around here at Donington for the SARCO Porsche Eurocup. Brandon trying to go on the defensive though. He's really doing everything he can, but you can see Adrian Horn trying to hold his position. Gav now trying to get involved. drag race between the two at this point, and it's going to look like it was going to go 3 wide, but you could see immediately, unfortunately, Andrew Horn had to loses out a bit of time though. Andrew Horn not Camper dropping back into that 3rd place. So definitely not a fun time for Andrew Horn. Was leading the race, now losing out that little bit of time. So definitely the guys are trying to battle their way around here, and not a happy camper. But you could see Brandon now giving chase to Gavin. Gavin really getting shoved along here. Brandon looks to go on the inside. Gav goes a bit wide though. Loses out a bit of time. Oh, they touch. They touch. Gavin and Brandon touch. Andrew Horn retaking that first place. Brandon trying to get it all back together. Gavin trying to pull himself towards himself as well. So our main two going and bumping each other, and unfortunately rubbing too much, losing their time. And Andrew Horn with a big smile on his face, and also with eyes the size of dish plates at this point, having to really thread the needle here. And you're right up there, Adrian Bond. JohannVdV is starting to climb up, lying in 5th place. So Johan is pushing to try and show that Simstuff Racing as in that 45 Porsche, and he's going after Gavin. So definitely some fantastic work there. Well done, Adrian Bond, for keeping an eye on that. Thank you very, very much for that. Very, very tight racing here. JohannVdV having to work to try and make up a bit of ground. And you can see right behind him is Brandon. So Brandon trying to make up a bit of time after that collision, and now looking to try and get past our one of our series sponsors as he battles his way through. And we also got Terry Wolford having a fun time here, going off the hills. But right behind him is Greg, who is pushing like hell to try and catch up, as our race is starting to reach the closing moments at this point, with only 6 minutes remaining by the looks of it. Sorry, 8 minutes and 27 seconds remaining. So definitely one to work out here. Ash has got a 2nd penalty. Gav's got a 2-second penalty. So Gav is losing a bit of time here. And JohannVdV is going to start climbing up. Brandon's got a 2-second penalty as well. So a bit of a change up here if they can do it. So our director going and showing us a bit of an insight there. So a massive thank you to our director who's keeping an eye on this. And director, dictator, one of the two, and definitely going to be in my ear a little bit later. And you can see Terry Wolford under some massive pressure here. Hill's diving up on the inside. So Hill's now pushing as hard as he can. Skolt's also trying to get into the mix here. So it is looking into a Porsche sandwich at this point. Terry Wolford having to go on the defensive. Wolford really keeping at bay. He thinks that he might be able to pull away from here. This is the Alpha tier, ladies and gentlemen. This is all about side-by-side action. Guys pushing themselves to the limit. And this is where you want to be. The pinnacle of our SARCO series. And look at those lap times. I mean, Andrew Horn doing a 139.3. Right behind him is Dylan in 2nd place, who is 2nd in the championship. So he wants to keep that going. I know Mrs. Horn is busy cheering on from the couch there, saying, go Dylan, go. You have to keep going. Otherwise, you're sleeping on the couch tonight if you don't bring back that trophy. So Dylan has got the pressure here, and Mrs. Hall is making sure of it. The whip is going to crack on the man if he doesn't get this right. And he is trying to catch up to Andrew Horn, who's trying to keep himself going, but right behind him, hunting him down, is Ash. So our first place series is Ash. Heat number 1, now lying in 3rd place, has to get past Dylan at all costs at this point. So definitely the pressure is on now. Andrew Horn just has to keep it all together for 6 minutes. And I know that sounds easy, but the pressure of keeping it all together, that is the difficulty in this. JohannVdV getting hunted down by Brandon. Brandon looking for any way by. A little bit of nudging between the two, but you can see Brandon managing to get by. And JohannVdV losing out a position. So Johan losing out that little bit of time. Looks to try to come back for a fight. Gets a bit sideways though. Gets a bit squirrely. Catches it. So very well done on his part for keeping it all together there. and definitely some tight racing, ladies and gentlemen. I want to see the strong arms. I want to see the thumbs up. I want to see your guys' excitement on YouTube, on Facebook. I want to see your guys' excitement. Make sure you like that page. Go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell as well. Use SARCO at the Autowash Fourways Gardens and get that 15% discount. Also, you have to keep going. I want to see. Give your support. Show your love to every single one of these drivers in the remaining of this race. 5 minutes left, ladies and gentlemen, of our Alpha tier. Pushing it to the limit here. Dylan starting to catch up to Andrew Horn up in the front. So Dylan is trying everything he can. He's got Ash right behind him as well. Go and show your support, ladies and gentlemen. I see you guys on YouTube. I see you guys on Facebook. I want to see the support. That is you, Clayton Lee. I want to see the support there. I want to see the support, Adrian Bond, Brandon DeSantos, Vince. Show the support for the drivers in the final stages of the race. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. Will Andrew Horn be able to keep it out? Will he keep the green number at bay? Will Dylan be able to capitalize for his fallen comrade, Jakes? He's now lying in second place. He has to go for that proof. It is turning into the green numbers versus Ash once again. Ash must be getting sick and tired of seeing these green cars chasing around. Ash really pushing it on here. Dylan goes on the dirt though. Dylan goes wide. Ash taking that second place, but Dylan's not done yet. Dylan keeps it flawed all the way through. Dylan is trying to do some rallycross driving here and to catch up. So very, very close racing between them. Gav now hanging in the wind, only 2.6 seconds behind, which does sound a little bit of distance, but the more that they touch the dirt, the more they start messing with each other, the more he'll catch up. But you can see Dylan starting to go sideways, big time, arm over arm, trying to catch the car at this point, and turning into a very, very difficult situation as they battle their way around. Dylan trying to keep the pace on here as he throws the car around to catch up to Ash. Ash trying to make up a move. Ash is a second faster, doing 138.5 over Andrew Horn doing a 139.2, but Ash has got a second penalty, so even if he gets past Andrew Horn, he just has to keep it going. And I mean, that's a difficulty into it. You have to really keep going. If we can bring up once again that that leaderboard, let's see, has Dylan got a penalty though? As our director, I'm sure, will put up the board one more time for us. And Dylan hasn't got a penalty, so Dylan has to really stick in the wings here to be able to get that second place spot. But Gav with a 3-second penalty, so Gav is definitely out of the running here. So Dylan can just keep it together, has to keep within a second of Ash. So Ash losing out that little bit of time has cost through the race. So let's see, Ash will have to get by and pull a second, starting to get there, 0.8 of a second away. So Dylan really has to work hard here. Might be able to crack that second place, even though Ash is sitting there, but that penalty will come into play in the race. Andrew Horn trying to keep it all together, 0.6 of a second. I mean, they're incredibly close, ladies and gentlemen. Tight racing the whole way through, and there's only 2 minutes left of the session. 2 minutes of our Alpha tier. Final race here at Donington for them. And you can see Andrew Horn trying to keep it all together. Ash trying to sneak it in there. Andrew Horn locking up a bit. Ash trying to go on there. Basin, 0.9 of a second. Oh, it's going to be close. Will Dylan be able to get it? Here's a second penalty. Oh my heavens, this is going to be close, ladies and gentlemen. 1 minute and 30 seconds left of the race, and it's still anyone's guess for our top three. This could be it. Dylan trying to hang it together, slips out to the wide, and losing some massive time. You can just see how hard they're trying to push each other here. Andrew Horn trying to keep it all together away from Ash. Ash trying to battle his way through. JohannVdV unfortunately fallen way back. Gav with a 3-second penalty along with Brandon. So those two are losing out a bit in this race. But it's anyone's guess. Within a second is our top three. and Dylan is a second behind. So at the moment, Dylan is going to take third place, and he has to just try get in, even if it's 0.9 of a second to catch up. So Clayton is going on to it. Brandon DeSantis going, come on, Andrew. And Brandon, no offense, dude, I'm full behind you on this one. And I don't think you're cheering as much as me at this point. Andrew Horn really holding it on you. And the cheers from the crowd, we can hear you guys right around the world. And I want to show that love, ladies and gentlemen. Show those strong arms. We want to see it. Ash going past. Will Andrew Horn be able to do it? Andrew Horn just has to stay in that last second. Andrew Horn has to really keep it together. Dylan trying to make up, but Dylan has lost time. Dylan is out of the equation in this. Andrew Horn just has to try and make up. Oh, no, Ash managing to get that second. Andrew Horn having to stick it together. Ash going a bit sideways there, losing out time. Andrew starting to get within it. And that is also, Dylan is in the works now. So Dylan is trying to get on the brakes and get past Andrew Horn. Andrew Horn trying to get it all together as they move their way around. It's anyone's guess, ladies and gentlemen. But I don't think Ash realizes he's got the second penalty. He's got the 1 second penalty as they're coming to the line. Couple of more corners here, ladies and gentlemen, as they go. And let's see who's going to get it. Ash coming across the line. Andrew is within a second. Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew was within the second. Honestly, great driving. Dylan just catching a third place. But we'll find in our official results, who is it going to be? Has Ash managed to do it, ladies and gentlemen? And we take a look. The winner for heat number 2 goes to Andrew Horn. Second place goes to Ashley. Unfortunately, that second penalty coming in. Dylan in third place. Gav in fourth place, even though we had 4 second penalty. Brandon the 3 second penalty in fifth place. Peter, Sly Pete in sixth place. I mean, mind-boggling. Absolutely mind-boggling. I know Sarge is in here. He was our director. And he was definitely on edge here. Sarge, if you can hear me, bud, you've got to give your input into this race. I mean, wow.
Yeah. No, look, that was absolute insane race. Absolutely ridiculous.
Brandon DeSantis, yes, Andrew, Rough Riders managed to pull it away. Adrian Bond putting in there. But, I mean, Sarge, wow. I mean, this is the alpha tier, and the level they put on here was incredible between the close racing, 0.2 of a second between Jakes and Ashley, and now Ashley going and losing out that position in the second. So Andrew Horn hanging an absolute thread. I mean, yeah, I'm a loss for words here.
Yeah, Andrew had an absolute cracker of a race.
No, it was an absolute banger. So fantastic racing from every single one.
Awesome race there. Well done. Oh, man, just shit.
No, absolutely. Wow. Wow. Oh, man. Dylan. Incredible racing. Unfortunately, not close enough to Ash. Ash had that second penalty, and you were really hanging on there, bud. I mean, incredible. And we had everyone supporting you. You had Clayton Lee, Leighton Hill going, go Dill, freaking out. I mean, you had Rev Cornish going absolutely mad. Adrian Bond was behind Alpha Tier. Brandon DeSantis, Vince, and the list goes on. I mean, what do you think of the... I mean, how was the race out there? It must have been so intense from you guys.
Robert, you finished? Oh, it was okay. Listen,
that's okay.
the first race, I realized that I was out of the pack. So I was losing the slipstream. I wasn't really watching where the guys were braking. And then all of a sudden it got up into the pack, and then all of a sudden what then happens is I was now circulating almost a second quicker than what I was doing. I just could not close down the likes of Andrew Horn, and every time I did try and get a little bit closer, I would just lose him.
Absolutely. I mean, let's see if we can try and get the guys into the chat. I mean, I want to have a chat to the guys. Unfortunately, your teammate not being able to finish the second race, unfortunately had a rough coming together with Terry Walford, who lost the back end of the car, managed to catch it, but had that snap on him. And unfortunately, your teammate pegging the wall, but did really battle for heat number 1 against the person in chat here, and that is Ash. Ash, oh my word, my voice is shot thanks to you from heat number 1 to heat number 2. I mean, how are you feeling there, bud? A bit of a rough one for heat number 2, but take us through your thoughts from heat number 1, where, I mean, you were rubbing it there with Jakes and drag race to a line. 0.2 of a second between you guys in heat number 1. I mean, it was, you must have been pushing a pedal straight through the floorboard at that point.
The thing is, on the penultimate lap, I just missed the cutoff time by 1 second. So if I just had a break, I would have won the race without any problems. But we had an extra lap. I was like, oh no, Jake's got past. And I was like, oh geez, I've lost it. And he made a mistake going through that little like chicane, and I managed to catch him again, thank goodness. And then we had a rubbing moment from the second last corner to right to the end. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed myself.
And then, I mean, the incredible racing there. And we got Gavin. I mean, mate, you had a fantastic run in heat number 1. Heat number 2 was a real proper race for you, and you really had to dig deep to try and make your way around. Gavin, how are you feeling with your racing?
Look, I think I had a good race. Obviously, I had a really bad start in the first race, so I lost about 4 places. And then, I managed to, I was slowly catching, the guys were fighting, but unfortunately I couldn't get them, and I made a bit of a mistake. I went into first gear on the second to last corner, and I spun out. But luckily there was enough space. There was a big gap between myself and fifth. And in the second race,
that was me.
Second race, Andrew's car was so wide, I struggled to get past him, and eventually, at one point I made a mistake and Brandon came past me, and then I managed to eventually get past both of them, and then myself and Brandon had a bit of a altercation, and we both lost it, and then didn't
saw
get
that
past
one
us.
coming.
I was just waiting.
Overall, it was a good race. I enjoyed it thoroughly, and I can't wait for the next one.
And now the person that literally for the last couple of laps was counting coconuts in the dozens at this point, and was hanging on that. I think the steering has got finger marks molded into it at this point, and is definitely in dire need of a new one. Andrew Horn, buddy, pal, point. Was it 0.8 of a second?
0.12.
I mean,
We're nothing of a ball here. We know.
Exactly. How do you feel coming from heat number 1, where the chaos was in front of you, and you just managed to slip by every single time, getting into a point where the guys had lost it in front of you, and you thread the needle there, and definitely counted coconuts and said a million different coconuts at that point. Heat number 2, started the race, thought you had a bit of open air, and suddenly had everyone closing down on you like the Valkyries coming in for an attack in a Thor movie. How do you feel?
Yeah, it was good fun. I must be honest, the second heat, I've got this my steering wheel doesn't like summer, so it seems to lose its force feedback periodically, which makes life a bit interesting. So towards the end there with Ash, I lost the force feedback, and that's how they closed up on me. You're kind of just shooting in the dark. You're turning and hoping that it's sort of the right place, and you've sort of caught it at the right time, and that's about all you can hope for. It's not the easiest when you've had force feedback the whole race.
So
But yeah, look, lots of good fun. Applied some of the lessons I learned from the great Rick Morris there, and how to keep a car wide.
Just keep it in the middle of the track, Andrew. Just keep it in the middle of the track.
Yeah, a little bit of dirt on the inside and throw it in their faces and see if that throws them off. All the classic tricks.
A bit of Formula Ford racing coming in, where it's just going and stretching the car as much as possible, and see if you can maybe brake check a guy into one or two corners. If it was a Formula V,
you don't do that. You don't do that. That's one thing you definitely don't do.
Oh, I mean, you were literally
done to me, not cool.
Well, at least you're not bumping people out of gears like in Formula V. But you managed to go and hold it to the line. Guys, congratulations. I'm reading the chat here. Adrian Bond, Brandon DeSantos, Vince, Clayton Lee Hall, Rev Cornish. You had everyone on the edge of their seats. I highly recommend you go back and watch that stream and see actually how close you guys were. But ladies and gentlemen, give these drivers a round of applause. Alpha Tier leading the charge, and definitely made me lose my voice in 2 heats. This is ridiculous now.
Oh, well done, Gav. That was good racing. Good fun, man. Thank you.
It was so much fun, man. Yeah, guys, congrats.
Yeah, Andrew, I was just waiting just for that little mistake, just so I could get close enough to start applying the pressure. And I just couldn't catch you, even though I was going a second quicker than I did in the last race. Just couldn't close you down, man. Awesome,
so, Dom,
driving.
we found a cure for your fever. It's called the Rough Riders Orange Shot.
And that is it, ladies and gentlemen.
Jakes,
You heard it here.
I hope you're listening to that, Jakes.
You heard it here. The vaccine has been found for the Mambas, for Donington Park. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us right here for the Porsche Euro Cup with SARCO, and massive thank you to our sponsors, Autowash, Fourways, Gardens, and make sure, I'm sure you three are going to definitely use that SARCO discount for 15% of all the quoted at the Autowash. Big thank you to CT Electrical, and also I'm sure you guys are excited for the prizes that have been put up on the line for Simstuff Racing. So massive thank you to the guys for Alpha Tier Racing. Awesome work.
Awesome.
And a big thanks to you and Dylan.
Thank you, guys. Well done once again.
Cheers, Gavin.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers,
Ciao,
Thanks, guys. Awesome.
Cheers, Ashley.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
Bye.
So, Stephen, just one last thank you has to go to you, because without you commentating and being in the commentating spot, it allows me to get behind the wheel, and man, oh man, am I having some fun.
That was definitely some close racing. Thank you very much for having me once again, and I'm really looking forward to the next one. I think it's going to be exciting. The rest of the season is definitely building up to something special, and well, I think you guys have got a bit of work on your hands now, as the Alpha Tier has definitely showed they're on pace, and the Bravo Tier is not too far behind.
Yeah, just remember that one little race doesn't win you your championship. But what's going to be happening is that next week we go to the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo E. Dino Ferrari Imola circuit. How's that for a mouthful? Really looking forward to that. But there's one little catch. The rain is here.
Okay, so I need my rain jacket, I need my passport, and I definitely need Google Translate going into next round. This is going to be a tricky one. Also, guys, don't forget, we have Thursday with our Sette Corsa Competizione, so make sure you stick around and do it. Best way to do it is subscribe to our YouTube and hit that notification bell, and also like our Facebook page, SARCO South Africa Racing Community Online as well, for all your information and for some upcoming news. Trust me, there's a lot of exciting to come.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much to all the viewers that were out there putting those comments through. I was watching the chat and I kept having to remind myself that I'm driving. I shouldn't be watching here. So it actually has been pretty interesting and really enjoying it. So I just had to jump myself. It seems like I was going into a race by myself, and that's not what I really wanted. So guys, we'll see you on Thursday. Until then, keep racing, and thanks for watching. Yos.